Hey guys, I had a request to actually go through my guitar inventory from a subscriber. Thank you for that request. And so we're going to give you a little background on every one of the guitars I have, the years and everything. And for the most part, if you own a lot of guitars, they actually do have stories that go along with them. And some of them are pretty interesting. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. Okay, guys, we're going to start with an electric guitar. Now, this is not anything special. It's just the fact that it's the oldest of them. I'm trying to go in the order from the oldest to the newest. This is a Hagstrom guitar. Now, a lot of people have never heard of a Hagstrom guitar, but this one is an SL-2, and it's from around the 1970s or whatever. And it is actually a Swedish model guitar, and it has had some modifications done. So what is the story behind this guitar? All right. So I was playing in a band. I'd played with them and I was touring with them. And we had another guitar player. He was letting me use this because I actually liked the sound of it. And he got to be to the point where he just wasn't fitting in with the group and the group's vision and everything. And I was given the task of firing him. Right. Fun, real fun, real fun. So anyway, I ended up firing him, and then he got together with us and we talked about the equipment we had. We had bought some stuff as a band, and he made an offer that if he took one piece of equipment that the band owned, that he would give me this guitar. And I said, "Yeah, I'm used to playing it. I like the sound of it." And so we traded the piece of equipment, and Wade walked away with an electric guitar. All right, next up we have an acoustic, and this is a Guild DC-D1, and this is a 1997 model. And you guys may have actually seen this in some of my videos. Probably around a year ago, I had to actually have some guitars worked on, so I used this as a backup. This one probably has the best story out of all the guitars. So I don't want you to turn off the video because I'm going to tell you the best story right now, but this one is one that's for the records. All right, so here's the story. I had come out of a band and I was living in Nashville, Tennessee. And I was a songwriter. But primarily when I was playing in the band, I was the lead guitar player. Well, when the band dismantled, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Well, I wanted to go out and I wanted to play, but I didn't have an acoustic guitar. Imagine that. I didn't have an acoustic guitar, but I was a writer. So I went to a music store in Nashville, and my wife was pregnant and we didn't have a lot of money. And so I was looking around and they had a Lori Morgan signature guitar. And I can't even remember the name of the guitar, but it was only like $225. So I thought, okay, I can buy $225 guitar. So I bought this Lori Morgan guitar. Well, I'm here to tell you that that guitar is nowhere in the collection of guitars you guys are going to see today because this one took the place of it. So what happened? This guitar was so cheap that whenever I go out and play, if I played a G chord, it would sound out of tune. If I played an E chord, it would sound in tune. So what the problem was is a manufacturing flaw that down here, the saddle was just a little bit off. And so they wouldn't do anything about it. They wouldn't take the money back on it. And so I was stuck with a guitar that was really pretty bad to try and go out and play with. So one day I decided, this is probably 3 weeks after I bought it, I decided that I was going to go with my drummer buddy, and we were going to go up and down to every pawn shop in Nashville and try and pawn off this guitar and try and get some money out of it. So we go to a pawn shop, and when we go there, they would get all excited because it really was a beautiful guitar. They'd get all excited and they go to their books. And if you guys know anything about pawn shops, if it's not in the book, they can't put a value on it. They're not interested in it. So this guitar, this Lori Morgan guitar or whatever, was so new, there was nothing in the catalogs about it. So every time they'd get excited, then we'd get turned away and they'd say, no, we're not interested in it because we can't put a value on it. So this happened time and after time after time. And my wife was with me. She was 8 months pregnant. It was hot. And we're sitting there walking up and down Nashville trying to pawn off this guitar. So finally we go into the very last pawn shop. And I wish I could sit here and tell you that they took the guitar off my hands, but they didn't. They did the exact same thing. Oh, that's beautiful. Let's go look at our catalog. Go look at the catalog and there's nothing there. They'd come back and say, sorry, we're not interested. I was frustrated. Then all of a sudden, this guy behind me, young kid, says, hey, you want to sell that guitar? I said, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And he goes, I'll buy it. How much you want from it? I said, I'll do 175. He goes, I'll do your 175 if you throw in a capo. I said, okay, I'll throw in the capo. So we go out in the parking lot in the hood of my car, settled up. He took the guitar off my hands. I took the money from that and used it as a down payment on this guitar, which is a Guild guitar. And I think this guitar probably cost back in 97, like $1,100. And I played this guitar all over Nashville. And that is the story of this guitar. All right, guys, we are back to an electric guitar. I actually love this guitar. If you look at it, it's hard to tell, but this is actually a Telecaster. Telecasters normally have the telltale pick guard down here, but this is a custom Telecaster. It's actually got 2 double humbuckers, which you'll know if you're a guitar player. Anything about Telecasters, they usually have single pickups. So this one is a double. I got this one, and this is a 2001 model. It's actually got a really, really great tone. It's out of tune too, because I haven't played it for a while. But this one I was actually playing in kind of a rock / punk band when I bought this. Yes, I played punk. I played everything except for rap, guys, or actually jazz too. But it was a very nice sounding guitar. And I used this one quite a bit in a lot of different recordings. And it was been a great guitar. What I really like about this guitar is you can actually take the volume knob or the tone knob right here, and you can pull out on it and it will separate the pickup so you can actually go back to singles. Let's pull it out. So if you are on the back pickup, I can actually pull it out and it will only be playing on one of the pickups instead of the double humbucker. Very, very cool guitar. I've always loved the print on this guitar. In different lights, it's black. In different lights, it's gray. Sometimes it's even got a purple hue. But this is one of my favorite guitars. Okay, guys, the next one is a 2007 PRS SE. This is absolutely a beautiful electric guitar. And it does have the double humbuckers. Sad thing about this, guys, I probably bought this guitar for under $800. And all these guitars that I'm showing you guys, except for that very first Hagstrom, they're all I bought them all brand new. I don't necessarily go and buy guitars used, but I can tell you that as I've learned a lot more, and I'll get to that here in a second, that sometimes a used guitar sounds better than a new guitar, and I'll explain to you why. All right, so first of all, this guitar right here, I was playing in another touring band, and I was playing in drop tuning. So drop tuning was actually, we were playing in drop C, so it was pretty low. This guitar, and it's also got a broken string on it, this guitar just was not as responsive as what I wanted it to be. So I can tell you that as sad as it may be, and this happens, guys, it does. It's like buying something else. I mean, sometimes it just, you buy it and then you never use it. But this guitar probably has only been played out like twice and sat around the rest of the time. I had full intentions of changing out these pickups. This guitar did not have the response that I was looking for. I wanted more of an attack from those pickups. I wanted it to be a little bit more robust, and it wasn't coming through. And no matter what I did, I never could get it there. But she is a beautiful guitar, and that's her story. All right, guys, now we have one that you've probably seen in a lot of my videos. This is a Taylor 214 CE. I bought this in 2016. And this is the guitar that actually replaced the Guild that I was playing before. I felt like the Guild was getting to a certain point where it was actually, you know, getting aged and probably needed to be retired. And I was getting a little bit of splitting down here on the Guild. So I got this guitar, and this guitar has been with me through probably most of my solo acoustic shows. And I got it because I was starting to play more, and I didn't think the Guild could keep up. And I was really concerned about the hairline cracks that were happening on the body. This guitar, I was getting to the point within the last year, or about a little over a year ago, that I was getting kind of tired of the sound. But you know what? I have come to appreciate this guitar. I actually bought this guitar without playing it first, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised about it. This guitar is my go-to. This is the one that goes to every one of my gigs with me. It has great response time. It just feels comfortable. The action's great on it, and it's just set up exactly the way I love my guitar to be. Okay, guys, to my final guitar. This is a 2024 Taylor 1814 or 814 CE Builder's Edition. Now, I know you guys have seen this in a lot of my videos. So I am going to tell you the story about this guitar. My wife and I were getting ready to go on a cruise, and this was a year ago, at least at the time of this video. And we were going to be cruising out of Florida. And so we flew down to Florida. And before I flew down there, I'd been looking at this guitar online for quite some time. And I looked around at music shops and noticed that one close to where we were staying had this guitar, the exact guitar that I was looking for. Where I live, I'm nowhere close to a music store, so I didn't have that luxury. So I kept an eye on it. And so we went on this cruise, and when we came back, we actually stayed in the Airbnb for a while, and I had made plans to go by and look at this guitar. So I go by and look at the guitar and asked for it. I said, "You guys have this one in stock?" And they brought me back one that wasn't a match. And I'm like, that's not the one I'm looking for. And so I walked away very disappointed because even though they showed that they had it in stock, they never brought it out to me. So I left and I was very, very disappointed. The next day, I went back and I talked to a different salesperson, and I told him, I said, "I was by here. You guys are showing this guitar in stock." And he says, "Well, let me go look." And so he goes and looks, and he comes back with it. He goes, "Hey, this just came in. It hasn't even been put on the floor yet." I said, "Well, it hasn't just came in." I said, "It's been on your site for the last couple of weeks." But anyway, I sat down and played it, and I was looking for a different sound, as I told you on the last guitar, the 214. She's a little bit out of tune here. And I loved it. I mean, this is not a cheap guitar, guys. This guitar right here is $5,000. So anyway, here's the story about it. I asked the guy, I told him I'd take it, and I said, "I need you to ship it to where I live." I said, "When will it get there?" And he says, "Well, today's a Wednesday." He goes, "It'll be there by next Wednesday." I was like, "Oh, that's perfectly fine. We'll be back in time." And we were going to have it sent to a business that we own. Well, anyway, the next day we go out on another adventure while we're staying down in Florida, and I get a notification across my email that says that the guitar will be delivered that Friday. Well, we're actually heading back on Friday, but we're not going to be back until sometime late Friday afternoon. So I'm like, oh, I don't want them to set this $5,000 guitar out on a sidewalk and have it actually be stolen. So we scrambled around. We called people if they could go down and watch or whatever, and we couldn't find anybody. And I got to tell you, I live in a small town, so you guys will probably be amazed if you live in a big town. We can actually get the cell phone number of the UPS driver, and we called him and asked him if he would deliver it to an alternate location. Now, if you guys know anything about UPS, that is a big no-no. And we had a friend that works at a bank, and he agreed to take it down to her place, drop it off, and then when we get back, we could go to her house and pick it up. So he agreed to do so. It got delivered to the bank instead of our business. And when we got back, we went out to her house and we got this guitar. So you guys have probably seen this in quite a bit of videos. I don't play this guitar a lot. This is another one of those ones. Sometimes when you get home, you don't know exactly if it's going to be up to the standards of what you want. Now, do I think this is a great guitar? Absolutely. But on the 214, because it's aged, there is a body sound that you get. And sometimes you think, well, I'm looking for something else. So the grass is greener on the other side. You're looking for another sound. But then when you start comparing the two, you find out it's totally different. So although I think this is one of the most beautiful guitars I've ever seen, if you guys can see right here, it's kind of angled right here where you rest your arm. And then if you come up here where the cutaway's at, it's also angled right here. Very, very interesting guitar. It is just absolutely gorgeous, but it doesn't have the body sound that I'm really looking for. And also, and I haven't quite figured this out yet, whatever the volume I use at my 214 on, this one will actually come through half as loud. So it's only half as loud electronically hooked up as what my 214 is, which is very, very disappointing. So when do I play this? If I'm going to play this, I play it around the house. I'll put it in videos. I'll play it in church because it's controlled in there and there's carpet. I will never take it to an outside show or anything where I think there's going to be people who have been drinking who might, obviously trip over and hurt this guitar. I mean, it's obviously a very expensive guitar, but I do have confidence that when this guitar ages, and I want to put a different gauge of strings on it too, because these are a little bit smaller than what I like. I do have confidence that once it ages, that I will actually hear the true tones coming out of this guitar. But right now, it's just not quite there for me, and I'm just patiently waiting. But it is a great guitar to have, and I never regret any purchase that I make. Hey, thank you for that request, and I hope you guys enjoyed the little walkthrough of, every guitar has a story, because every guitar does have a story. If you guys have something that you want me to do a video on, whether it be a lesson or something else, comment below. I'd love to take a look at it. I'm always looking for content ideas. But guys, that's all I have for you right now. Take care. God bless. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And don't forget, practice what you have to so you can play what you want to. I'll see you in the next video.